illicit drug. Okay, it's an illicit, I believe. Illicit drug, IL. Illicit, okay? So, you know, you have to be real careful because it's like, oh yeah, I've heard of that. It's the illicit drug, ELI, you know, whatever. And it's like, that wasn't it, you know? So you have to be real careful and always just look stuff up, you know? And, you know, one that always gets everybody is effect and affect. You know, and for some reason, you know, it trips people up all the time. So the easiest way is just to kind of look it up. One's a noun and one's a verb. Right? Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, so totally different meanings, okay, and different situations. And, you know, like English, it never has a set rule. You know, just when you think, oh, well, this is always, no, it's not. So you have to be careful with that. So when in doubt, always look it up. And like I said, you know, Google is going to be, you know, become one of your best friends. I mean, there's everything on there. And you know, I mean, this is the best way. And it's right here at your fingertips. And God, I have no idea what we did without cell phones years ago. You know, and it's like, I mean, everybody has them now. Everything is at your fingertips. I mean, everything. You can find out anything about anything about anything. You know, you can find out a person's net worth on the internet. Not mine. It's going to be small, but but I mean, you can find out anybody's net worth. I mean, singers to baseball players to race car drivers, anybody. You can find out almost anything about anyone. So, a court reporter's reference library are books that a court reporter may find helpful in researching for the record that are listed in the section. Make sure that you always obtain the most recent edition for any of the references listed because differences may only occur between older and newer editions. Most of the books can be found in the reference section of bookstores. So unabridged dictionaries, you know, you always have Webster's dictionary, and it comes out every year, I believe. You know, so I mean, they're always adding new stuff, and you know, they're always adding new words from like urban dictionary spellings of stuff that, you know, never would have been, I don't think, in the dictionary. So the Random House Dictionary of English Language, desk dictionaries are the, you know, Webster's, Funk and Wagnalls, New College Dictionary. There's so many different references now, and you know, like the references that we had were pretty simple. You know, back then, what I thought was simple, you know, and it was Webster's, Black's, and Stedman's. So one was, you know, Black's is the law, Stedman's is the medical, and then you had Webster's, and those were our references. That's all we had. You guys have, you know, so many different things now. I mean, you know, from Google to one word, two word, sounds like, you know, so many different references. So topical dictionaries, I'm not going to go through all of them, but I mean, you know, you guys can go through them. I don't know that you'll use, God, probably a fifth of these or a tenth of these, you know, but there's different dictionaries for, you know, different things, especially the Dictionary of American Slang, you know, which now, you know, you kind of have it on, you know, your phone. So it's kind of Urban Dictionary. You can find it on there. So a lot of these, you don't even need the books. You know, you just, you can go to your phone. So Black's Law Dictionary, and there's different law dictionaries now. I mean, back then it was just Black's that we had, and that was the main one. And God, it's huge. It's a big old dictionary. And then you had Stedman's, I mean, which was huge too. You know, the medical references, Gray's Anatomy. So I mean, there's all kinds of different. Stedman's medical dictionary, I mean, they still have that. the physician's desk reference. Now they have that like online. I think it's an app now where you can ask it anything. You know, you just put in there, well, I have this sore on my back and whatever. And I mean, you can ask anything. Or what was that? Oh, there's another one. I mean, you just kind of, you know, talk into it and kind of tell them the symptoms, and they kind of tell you what they think it is. I mean, it's crazy. Yes. So, encyclopedias, they still make those. I don't even know if they still make those anymore. Grammar and punctuation references, guys, you're gonna, I mean, and you'll go to these conferences or whatever, and you'll find different vendors that sell these books, and some of them are really good. The one word, two word is really good. There was another good one, I don't see it on here. Useful references, miscellaneous references, the Holy Bible. I mean, you'll have people that, you know, quote scripture sometimes, you know, in their closing argument, and you know, Job said, and really, you know, and so now you got to go look it up. Now you have to go look it up, because it's like, he who, you know, and how they used to speak back then, thy who, whatever. So I mean, you have to have it, you know, as close to whatever. So I mean, if they say, you know, you have different references to go to. The Wall Street Journal. The internet. One of the most useful resources for finding valuable information is the internet, guys. I'm telling you, and I can't stress it enough. All of this stuff is on the internet. So you can go anywhere. You can go to Stedman's, you can go to Black's, you can go to Webster's, Urban Dictionary, one word, two word, any of that stuff. And I've done it all the time. And I just, you know, I'll go on here, and it's pretty neat, because you have, you know, the thing that comes up on the front, and it's the Google. So you just speak into it. And is one-sided, hyphenated. Well, it depends on how you use it. Depends on, and it'll tell you. It depends on how you use it. If you use it, you know, this one-sided barn or whatever, I don't know, you know, then, you know, it's hyphenated. And if not, it's just one-sided, whatever. I mean, you know, where it's not hyphenated. But, I mean, it'll tell you. It'll tell you, well, in certain circumstances it is, and why it is, and, you know, because it's a adjective, or because it's a, you know, pronoun, or whatever. I mean, and it tells you why. I mean, this thing, God almighty, I mean, it tells you anything about anything, you know. So all of this stuff, all of these reference books are going to be in there. And all you have to do, I mean, like I even found, like I was working on a transcript one night, and the judge quoted something out of, you know, the family law. He quoted something from the family law. God, I can't even think of the name of it. Anyway, it's a book that has all of the sites or whatever, and why certain things are the way they are. And then, you know, 263.305 F1, you know, it says, what? You know, where am I going to find this when the thing's due tonight or in the morning, and I've got to get this thing out, and it's, you know, I'm already proofing it, and I'm just about done. And what? Where am I going to find that? Right here. Okay, Family Code, Chapter 263.305 F1, POW. There it is. Crazy. Or if I'm there, a lot of times, you know, I would be down at the court and I'm proofing or whatever, and he quoted something or somebody else quoted something. It's like, hey, Judge, can I use your family law reference? Yeah. You know, go up there, and it's like, and then everything's numbered. So you go to 263.305 F1, POW. And there it is. You know, so everything is on the internet, for one. So I mean, you should never have to look for anything. But back in the day when I got out, you know, I mean, if we had a question about medicine, we had to call HEB, and hopefully the pharmacy was still open. You know, how do you spell Xanax? I think it's Z-A. No, it's X, sir. No, Xanax. Yeah. X? Yeah, X-A-N-A-X. What? Xanax? No, idiot, Xanax. You know, but, I mean, you don't know. You know, so, I mean, you just put it in here. How do you spell Xanax? Pow. And it just comes up. I mean, it's amazing, guys. You guys are so much more advanced. It's ridiculous. Legal citations is a reference made by a lawyer to a specific law or statute. That's just what I was talking about right now. It may also be a reference to a previous case that he or she researched and found to be similar to the case being tried, particularly one that will help to bolster the case at hand. In this chapter, the legal citations have been divided into three broad categories. So you have federal codes, the Constitution and every law the Congress of the United States passes are published in a set of books called the United States Code. So it has everything in there. And they're by number. So it has like, you know, 101.001. So you just look it up, 101.001. D or A, subparagraph 3, and you just A3, and it, I mean, state codes, each state has its own method of complying or compiling the codifying of its laws. The following is a list of the accepted methods and citing them. Sometimes the laws of another state will be cited, and the name of the state does not appear in the citation. It should be added. For example, if the document is to be filed in Texas and a Louisiana statute is cited, it will be LA. Capital L, small a for Louisiana, okay? And it kind of gives you how it's cited, the state, the title, which is the Code of Alabama, and then how it's cited for each state. So that's pretty neat. Appellate decisions, whenever a judge sits in a judicial proceeding and renders a decision, the decision is recorded for the proper guidance of the courts in deciding future cases. Each appellate court has a reporter who is responsible for seeing that the decisions are published at regular intervals. These publications are called the official reports, and the following is a list of the official state reports. So it kind of has those also. And then it has the national reporter system also. You kind of go through there and look at some of those. Some of the reporters are designated second series. The designation is a number purpose and indicates that the numbers of the volumes have been started with the number 1. Care should be taken that the 2D is added when so dictated. For example, the 32 FED and the 42 F2D are separate books. Not exactly sure what they're talking about there, but you know, different sites. When they're talking about, you know, in what I'm used to is like the family code. So it's gonna say like 263.405 F, which is in parentheses, 1, which is also in parentheses. So it's F1, you know, or stuff like that. But when they say, well, Judge, I'm citing black versus white, 124 Southwest 2nd, 357. That's what they're talking about right there, guys. That's exactly the way that it's written, but that's not the way it's said. The way that I said it is the way that they say it. So they're going to come in and they're going to say, Judge, I have a case on point where they're talking about this, and it's in black versus white, 124 Southwest 2nd. And that's what it stands for, Southwest 2nd. So it's S period W period 2D. So for those of you that aren't here, look in your book, follow along, and that's exactly the way it's written. And you're going to hear it all the time. If you go down and sit in court, you're going to hear it all the time. And they cite case law all the time. And you're going to say Southwest 2nd. So you just write out S-O-U-T-H-W-E-S-T second, S-E-C-O-N-D. No, this is the way it's written. This is the proper way that it's written. So if you don't know that, this is the way that it's written, okay? So when they talk about, 124 Southwest 2nd, that's the way that it's written. 124, capital S period, capital W period, 2D, 2 small d, 357. Got it? They kind of give you some abbreviations and meanings. We're not going to necessarily go through those. You can go through those yourself. Another source for reference that lawyers use in preparing for their cases is the legal indexes. So Corpus Juris Secundum and American Jurisprudence or legal encyclopedias are arranged alphabetically and by subject matter and have an indexed. I don't know that you'll ever use that, but I mean you may. A set of books that is also invaluable to the lawyer is the Shepard's Citations. It is a list of cases with cross-references to other decisions on the same subject matter, plus notes as to the final outcome of the case. Lawyers call the use of these books shepherdizing a case, and they are referencing the necessity of checking Shepard's citations to make sure that a decision has not been reversed by a higher court before they use it in their argument. So things are changing all the time, and if they change, then they print a new version. So it's like, well, Judge, I mean, according to, Black versus White, 124 Southwest 2nd, 357, it's a 1967 case, and the other attorney goes, Judge, that was reversed. And now it says in the Jones versus Jones, 824 Southwest 2nd, 395, in the 2016 case, it says blah, blah, blah. Oh, well, I didn't see that case or whatever. So they just didn't do the research as good. But, I mean, you can go on to Google and Google stuff, it's like, Family Matters dealing with whatever, whatever they're looking for. And, I mean, it'll pop up case laws, of different cases or whatever. So, and then they're changing all the time. So, and some of them aren't. I mean, some of them are from like 1967, and they've stayed, this whole time, and they're still that way, when the higher courts follow these laws. So, any questions about that?
Yeah, why do you look up the case that they're citing, what they're citing? Like if they're quoting it, they state it, and they quote it, why do you have to make a citation, like at the bottom?
Well, because they may be talking about something that you've never heard before. Like and if he's quoting it, you have to put it word for word. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you want to put it the way that they have it, the way they have it punctuated, everything. And the way that they have it punctuated always, to me, sometimes to me it doesn't make sense the way that they punctuated it, but I mean, that's the way that they have it. And he's quoting it from that thing, so it's in quotes. And he goes, and I'm going to read from Black and White, 124, Southwest 2nd, 357. And it says that the plaintiff versus the defendant in volume number is the abbreviation for Southwestern Reporter. Well, is it South and then Western, or is it Southwestern, or is it Recorder? Reporter. You always, I always just look it up just to make sure that, if he's quoting it, it's for a reason. And you don't want to have, because it was blah, blah, blah for the Southwestern Recorder. And you put reporter. And all it would have taken was just, and this thing goes up on appeal. And it's like, she didn't even take the time to look it up or whatever, and he quoted from it or whatever. So it's always just best just to look it up, I find. Any other questions? Kind of covered a lot of stuff, but a lot of it's just kind of self-explanatory a little bit. A lot of references in there, guys, about different stuff. So, but like I said, Google, you can Google anything now. So, any questions? No?
Do we just read chapter 35 for next time?
Yeah, I'd read 35. I don't know that I'm going to get him to necessarily cover it. He's just kind of coming to, it's more of what the judge expects of the court reporter. So I don't know that there's necessarily a chapter on that, but I may try to get him to cover some of those things. So, and we'll talk about the other. We'll still talk about 35 later when it comes up, because a lot of it, you'll know when you read 35 that it deals with a lot of detailed stuff about the different courts. Okay. Any questions? No. Please try to be here on Wednesday, guys. I mean, unless it's dire that you're not, please try to be here because we are going to have a guest speaker. Okay. All right. We'll see you.